10 times where Reynold Poernomo shocked the world on MasterChef. Ever since Reynold first walked into MasterChef's kitchen, he's been blowing everyone's minds. Judges, fellow chefs, and fans around the globe with his jaw-dropping desserts. His creations range from stunningly beautiful to intricately delicate, showcasing his creative genius and knack for delivering amazing flavors. Reynold truly knows how to make a lasting impression with his sweet treats. During his time on Season 7 of MasterChef, Reynold whipped up 27 amazing desserts, earning the title of the best pastry amateur cook the show has ever had from former judges Gary Mehigan, George Calombaris, and Matt Preston. I bet you're just as curious to learn more about his special creations and probably try to recreate them. Number 10, the dessert to die for. During an elimination round in Season 7, Reynold had the concept to create something more than just a dessert. He wanted to create an experience. His idea was to go hard, even harder this time. The centerpiece was a whipped dark chocolate ganache combined with a coffee vanilla ice cream on top, surrounded by creme fraiche shots, vanilla meringue, drizzled with lemon jam. To end it off, he added brown butter walnut crumble for that endless magical experience of flavors. Genius, right? As Reynold started working on his masterpiece, the judges, Andy Allen, Melissa Leong, and Jack Zonfrello, couldn't stay away. The chocolate had to be perfectly tempered, the eggless mousse had to be just right, and the ice cream had to have the perfect balance between coffee and vanilla. One misstep and the whole thing could go up in flames. Finally, Reynold plated his creation, and let's just say it was a sight to behold. In fact, the judges were practically drooling. The dessert to die for stood proud with a slight sheen hint and a delicate butter walnut crumble soil around the base added to the art piece, while the other pieces were artfully placed to invite a more sensory feel. Jack Zonfrello was the first to dive right in. He took a bite and paused. Too many flavors to process, and went for a second bite. His eyes widened in sheer delight and kept on saying, "So good!" Melissa and Andy quickly followed suit. Their faces light up with each bite. Reynold's dessert to die for didn't just win him accolades for the day, it made him a dessert legend. Number 9, the immunity pin. During this episode on MasterChef Australia, competition was fiercer than ever, and everyone could feel it. But the stakes were even higher, and Reynold knew he had to pull out all the stops. So, he decided to go big or go home. The centerpiece? A flawlessly tempered chocolate dome. Now, if you've ever tried to temper chocolate, you know it's about as easy as it seems. But Reynold, he made it look like a walk in the park. He started with a chocolate dome, melting, cooling, heating, and finally tempering it to perfection. Next, he whipped up a mandarin compote curd and meticulously piped it into the dome, making sure every bite would be an explosion of flavor. And because he's Reynold, he didn't stop there. He added a sweet, desirable caramel explosion in it, with delicate elements like small edible pebbles and tiny rocks on yogurt, just to make it even more space-like. It was time for the taste test, and the judges couldn't have enough, but it was delicious. Eventually, Reynolds' dessert saved his ass, and did not use his immunity pin. Gutsy move there. Number 8, mushroom dessert. What would you typically imagine when you think of a mushroom dessert? I bet you'd expect real mushrooms, right? Wrong. Reynold was able to create something so realistic that wasn't actually a mushroom. His dessert was porcine mushroom gelato with milk chocolate, hazelnut mousse, almond wheel, and chocolate earth. It looked like a mushroom and smelled like a mushroom, at least according to the judges. And the taste was so divine that some of the judges went for second and even third spoons. Number 7, the mind-blowing moss dessert. In Season 8, Reynold showed everyone he wasn't messing around with his moss dessert. This thing looked like it was plucked straight from a magical forest. It had pistachio mousse covered with matcha, pistachio sponge, and caramel gel. It was like eating a piece of art. Judges were blown away and viewers couldn't believe their eyes. Reynold wasn't just making a dessert, he was crafting edible fairy tales. Number 6, the Golden Snitch. Alright, let's talk about Reynolds' magical snitch dessert from Season 12 of MasterChef. His idea for this episode was a Golden Snitch dessert straight out of Harry Potter. Yes, literally. Now this wasn't just any old dessert. Nope. This was a chocolate sphere with delicate wings filled with passion fruit mousse and raspberry compote. Now you might be wondering how Reynold came up with this fantastical creation. Well, rumor has it that he's secretly a wizard, or he's been binge watching Harry Potter while brainstorming dessert ideas. Hey, whatever works, right? But seriously, Reynold's attention to detail was next level. From the golden sheen of the snitch to the perfectly balanced flavors inside, it was like he waved his wand and made magic happen. And the judges? Oh boy, they were speechless. I mean, how do you even critique something that perfect? They were wowed and gave him big ol' applause. Number 5, the Alice in Wonderland. Reynold's dessert was like stepping into the pages of Lewis Carroll's classic tale. He took elements from the story and turned them into edible delights. Imagine a chocolate clock that you could actually eat with raspberry jelly that looked like the drink me potion from the story. And let's not forget the edible flowers, adding a touch of whimsy to every bite. Now you might be thinking, how did Reynold pull off such a fantastical creation? Well, it wasn't just about mixing ingredients. It was about creating an entire experience on a plate. He spent hours perfecting each element, making sure they not only looked stunning, but tasted perfect too. When it was time to present his dessert to the judges, they were pleasingly amazed and couldn't help but smile as they tasted each magical bite. Truly a masterpiece. Number 4, the Forbidden Fruit. Reynold's Forbidden Fruit dessert was a real showstopper on MasterChef Back to Win in 2020. You know how if you think about an apple, you probably picture something you can grab off of a tree and munch on? Reynold, however, saw an apple as a canvas for his creativity. During one of the episodes, Reynold presented a dessert that didn't just resemble an apple, it was the apple. The forbidden fruit was so lifelike that if Snow White had seen it, she might have hesitated a bit longer before taking a bite. This dessert had a flawless chocolate shell, painted red to perfection, making it look like a fresh apple just plucked from an orchard. But wait, it gets better. Inside this fruit, Reynold had crafted layers of apple mousse and a luscious caramel center. Cutting into it was like slicing through perfection. Even the judges' faces lit up the moment they saw the interior. And the taste? Oh, the taste. The apple mousse was light and airy, bursting with fresh apple flavor, while the caramel added a rich, buttery depth that balanced perfectly. It was a combination that had the judges swooning. Number 3, the chocolate log. Imagine being handed what looks like a piece of wood and being told it's dessert. You'd probably think someone's playing a prank on you, right? Well, Reynold's chocolate log dessert was no joke. It was a masterful illusion that left everyone scratching their heads and drooling at the same time. A chocolate log with a raspberry liquid center, chocolate raspberry ganache, and chocolate soil? Yeah, impressive, right? When it was time for the taste test, the judges couldn't wait to have their hands on the art. You can tell just by the way they dug into the dessert, it was amazing. One of the judges even called it the 3 ways to heaven. And don't you just love those moments where the judges kind of forget about being judges and get giddy with excitement over his food? Truly next level. Number 2, Macadamia Fiesta. Coming to one of Reynold Poernomo's most jaw-dropping creations, the macadamia with salted caramel ice cream and kwandongs. If the name sounds like something out of a thriller movie, that's because it kinda is. One of the judges described it as nice, toasty, crumbly things with dark caramel. Interesting. And here's a funny story. When one of the judges asked if he was pleased with his dish, his answer was simply, not really. The sight only of that dish alone screams perfection, yet Reynold doubled his kwandongs. Well, I guess it's taste and belief, right? Of course, the judges tasted, and it was what you'd expect. Spectacular! You know Reynold is that guy that's never afraid to go home, but he can be worried sick about sneezing during plating and accidentally sprinkling chocolate slightly to the right. Yeah, he's that guy with a hell of a perfection trait. Number 1, white noise dessert. This has to be one of the most popular, if not the most popular, dessert creations ever made by the Dessert King. What made white noise so incredible wasn't just its taste or presentation, but the way Reynold turned a dessert into a fun-filled adventure. This immaculate dessert was made with frozen gelato, coconut frozen ganache, white chocolate crumble, strawberry gum jelly, yogurt gel, and little white pebbles with strawberry concealment gel. Just looking at it could have you imagining paradise. Its pristine white color and snowy elements made it even more appealing. In fact, putting it in Gordon Ramsay's words,
it is so elegant to the eye, it's so technical. It's almost like being in a science lab.
That's not all. Ramsay couldn't put on his harsh critic sleeve for this one, but instead commended him.
It makes you want to dive into the bowl. It's very rare we see a dessert looking so beautiful so early on in this competition.
Now to the fun part. Once the judges broke apart the white pebbles, it revealed a beautiful red strawberry filling. Just so perfect. And of course, the taste? It was so good the judges ate and wiped their spoons clean. With this, we can say that Reynold remains undefeated as the dessert king.